Hello?
Telephone.
I'll call you right back. Call you right back.
Telephone.
I'll call you right back podcast.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of I'll Call You Right Back podcast with me, your host. My name is Chad Medved. Welcome to my podcast. Welcome back to the returning guests. Welcome to the newcomers. If you could, please take 1 second out of your day, just one, and scroll up on your podcast app, hit subscribe if you have not, and then leave me a rating and a review on the podcast. It would mean the world to me. I'm in my spare room recording this episode right now, like a prisoner, like in this, I guess we're about to get out, shit's about to be, I don't know if it's going back to normal or not, but regardless, hit subscribe, rate and review the podcast. I would appreciate it. I'm sweating in this spare room right now recording this episode, and all I ask you is a second of your time for a rating and a review. Please also take a second and follow Turner's PGH on Instagram. That's Turner Dairy Farms, the creators of Turner's Premium Iced Tea, the lifeblood of this city, and a proud sponsor of I'll Call You Right Back podcast. So this weekend I went over to my mom's, and my little bodega next to my house that I grew up at, they always got fire shit there kinda, and they had the limited edition chocolate peanut butter Turner milk that they just released recently, and I finally got to get a bottle of it and try it. And for being someone who's not a big peanut butter fan, it was really, really good. And I don't even just say it because, they're sponsors of the podcast. It's honestly a good milk. You know what I mean? It does not, for me, it doesn't compete with the birthday cake flavored milk. The birthday cake flavored milk is absolutely the top tier elite milk I've ever had. But the chocolate peanut butter was real good. I had it with a cookie, and, they go together, as good as peanut butter and jelly would go. But I want to say thank you to Turner Dairy Farms for, standing behind the podcast and, keeping the lights on over here. I love working with them guys, and I'm excited to, kind of break out of this, monotony that we've been in for this last, I guess 3 months almost, I guess. I'm trying to go and, get out there and, preach the good word of Turner Tea, and also the good word of I'll Call You Right Back podcast. And, I'm just pumped because, I don't know, this whole episode. So I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about. Last week we talked about current events, what was going on in the world, voting, the George Floyd incidents. And I didn't know, I didn't want to, just shrug all that off. You know what I mean? I wanted to keep with the current events and kind of talk about what's going on in the world today as well, because I feel like we're about to have a shift. You know what I mean? And not even as far as the protesting end of things, because there has been shifts with that. And it seems to be, shit's going well with that. The protesting is working, obviously. They're defunding some police forces, some justice is being served to some extent. But, I'm curious to know what's going to happen with this whole, virus shit, the wild things that are happening in the world today I almost forgot that there was a virus that has been, so they say, plaguing the Americas. I said the Americas, there's, I don't know, whatever, but you get what I'm saying. And, I guess people are just going back to normal now. I think things are just going back to normal. This past weekend, I went to a restaurant for the first time in 3 months, and it was bizarre. I went to Hitchhiker Brewing. I guess that's not really a restaurant, but it's a brewery, and we were sitting at the place, and it was dope. It was nice because we got to see our friends, we got to talk, and I don't drink, but we were at this brewery because Streets on Carson had their food truck, Streets on the Fly, there. put a pin in whatever I was saying, but if you have not yet, follow Streets on Carson and Streets on the Fly. Streets on Carson is a restaurant in Southside, and Streets on the Fly is their food truck, and they're making their rounds because the weather's getting nice and shit's popping off. But we were at Hitchhiker Brewing, and I had a beer, or I had a flight of some beers. And drinking, I don't drink really. I've probably been drunk maybe 4 or 5 times in my life. I just don't care about drinking. And it's not the taste of the alcohol that I dislike. On the contrary, I love the taste of it. I used to dislike it, but I started to really appreciate the different tastes. I just don't want to be drunk. I just hate feeling drunk. Sue me, I guess. But I had a flight of beer. I was there with my wife and a couple of our friends, and we got a nice cheesesteak and some dim sum wings and some 24-karat wings from the Streets on the Fly food truck. And, we sat there and we ate it, and it was fantastic. It absolutely was delicious, but it was a bizarre experience because, do we wear a mask? Do we not wear a mask? Do we wear a mask? What's the deal? As time goes on, more things come out. At the beginning of this virus stuff, I was beside myself. There was periods of time, one time it was the last day I worked before I got laid off. I was just in tears in my driveway about this virus shit because I was freaking out about it. I don't know why I was freaking out. Probably because we didn't know what was going on with it, but I was losing my mind, trying to keep tabs on these numbers because, basically I just didn't know what it was capable of. I didn't know if we were going to wake up the next day and it would look like fucking 28 days later. You know what I mean? There ain't nothing scarier in the world than zombies, fast zombies, that is. But, it's just I don't know. In the beginning, I was so terrified of this. And now I'm kind of what is the deal with it? You know what I mean? For instance, I literally just got home from getting my hair cut. And I'll be honest, it was incredible. I haven't had my hair cut for 3 months. I've cut it twice on my own, and it was not good at all. But I made an appointment and I was I'm going to go get a haircut, and I'll be interested to see what precautions people take and what what other people were acting like. And, my barber up the road from my house, he, you have to book him on the Booksy app, which is, a scheduling app, but that's a positive right there. Excuse me. That's not the corona. It's just a little phlegm in the throat. But you book them on the Booksy app, and you just, you go there, and there's no one waiting. You don't have to wait around people, but you have to walk in with a mask. You have to be sitting there with a mask. But once you get in the barber chair, they let you take the mask off if you choose. And both of the barbers there are wearing masks themselves. And, I felt fine about it. You know what I mean? I felt fine about it. In the middle, excuse me, in the middle of getting my hair cut, I think I breathed in a piece of hair, and I started having this insane coughing fit. I was hacking, like fucking insane. And I couldn't stop coughing for 2 minutes. And I was these dudes probably want to stab me in the temple. They probably think I'm infected. And I just kept telling him, I'm dude, I swear this ain't the corona. I breathe in a piece of hair or something. But, I don't know. It's people probably get suspect. If you're somewhere and you see if you're somewhere and you see someone hacking up something crazy, not even during this whole virus thing, but you're just get you sick motherfucking ass out of here. But I'm not sick, knock on wood. I just had a hair go down the wrong pipe. But man, getting a haircut, it felt incredible. It really felt incredible to get a haircut. I mean, and it's not that my hair was super crazy since I've been cutting it, but it just feels good to kind of have some sort of normalcy again. You know what I mean? And it's interesting because like I said, I went to that restaurant, I got my hair cut, and I even went to Dick's Sporting Goods the other day because I had to get something for my bike. I was looking for a bike rack, and it was just weird. I mean, it's just like 3 months we've been locked in our houses, kind of, and now things are just going back to normal. And it's like, it makes me wonder, like, I hear everyone say this, like, second wave. You know what I mean? Like, every sort of, crazy pandemic like this, there's a second wave because someone, everyone follows it in the beginning. And then because people, do the precautions to try to cut that out, people think it's over because the numbers go down. And then people go out, and then all hell breaks loose again, and the numbers shoot even higher because there's less precautions. But I don't know. Personally, I just don't know what to think about the virus anymore. Obviously it's concerning. It's concerning mainly because my brother had a child recently. I want to be able to, like, go around her and hold her and, like, be involved there. But I also, like, I go to grocery stores and shit. You know what I mean? I go to the store. I can't. No one could cut their lives off. You know what I mean? And it's like to the point now where me and my wife have been in the house for so long because we were taking the right precautions for so long. And it's like, what the fuck is going on? I don't know if I talked about it on here or not, but like, my buddy works at a dispensary, and he told me that, like, no one at the dispensary has gotten sick at all. Like, none of the workers there. And you're like, what the fuck? Like, there's thousands of people going in and out of there. People are touching money all day, every day. And you're like, like, I mean, shouldn't, by the rules and the numbers of everything, wouldn't it be likely that someone would get sick at all? And everyone's like, oh, asymptomatic. And, like, I get that, but I'm not a fucking scientist, and I don't know. And I'm getting a little restless, to be honest. I'm starting to walk around the house holding a fucking axe and wearing a flannel and, talking like Jack Nicholson. I don't know. I need to be able to go outside a little bit. You know what I mean? And people are taking precautions, but, like, make no mistake, I want to go get a good meal from a restaurant. You know what I mean? And takeout is cool. I get takeout. Me and my wife get takeout, but it's like, it ain't the same. I want a good ass restaurant, and, like, shit's opening up. And that was another thing I wanted to talk about this week is, like, I get that, like, we're in this green zone, and, like, I get that, like, people are probably going to go back to being completely normal and just forget about this. And, like, we don't know what's going to happen with this. We don't know if people are going to start dying because of the second wave, or we don't know if, like, we just don't fucking know what's going to happen. And I don't know what's going to happen, but I think I'm going to just start going out. You know what I mean? Like, what else could I do? I'm going to start going out, and if the second wave gets crazy, they're going to fucking lock us down again. So let the bird fly away for a little bit, and if I have to go back into the cage like the rest of us, then so be it. I did buy a new steed recently. I bought a new bike along with the rest of America, kind of like how I started baking sourdough like the rest of America. But I bought a bike. It's nice as hell, and I've been ripping on the damn thing. You know what I mean? It's just like, what else can we do? You can't go to a store. You can't go to a restaurant. It's like, what else can you do, really? And I've been down the city ripping on a pedal bike, and it's fucking great. And, I didn't appreciate bikes whenever I was younger. I just didn't. I thought mountain bikes were whack. I just like skateboarding, but, like, you can't, like, you're not, like, skateboarding up crazy hills. I don't know. There's just a whole different dynamic, but I do have a bike now, and it's dope. And, we're ripping everywhere. I took a terrible fall this weekend. Me and my friends wanted to, hit 30 miles on a bike and go loop around Kennywood. And we were on our way up there. We were probably like 3 or 4 miles away from Kennywood. And I looked behind me as we were ripping. And I like went off the trail into like some grass. And I was like, well, this is going to suck. And it just like my bike tilted. And I just flipped over and landed on the rim. Had to buy a brand new rim already because my big ass bent it. And, it's all right though. You got to take your losses, you got to take your losses, but biking is nice, and I was thinking about all the shit that's going on and how this summer there ain't going to be a fucking thing to do. There ain't no fairs. There ain't no like get-togethers like that. And, that's a bummer. I'm a fair guy. I'll go to a fair all day and I'll spend $75 trying to throw a ring on the fucking bottle. And I know it's fake and I know you can't win, but I'll do it. I'll go win 19 goldfish and try to keep them alive for as long as I could. And I know they're going to die because, they're doomed from the start, but I'm out there and I'm ready to do it. But, this year we can't. And it's kind of a hard hit. I'm curious about shows, like what's going to happen with like concerts, and I know majority everything got like rescheduled that was scheduled already, but like what do you think is going to happen like the rest of the year? Like what do you think the rest of the year is going to be like? I saw that like they were talking about sports coming back, and I don't really follow along sports too much, but they said that they're going to just do sporting events with no one inside of it. And it's like, all right, that's fine. But I feel like, like I'm a huge UFC fan. I watch it all the time. And for the past like 3 UFCs, they've been doing it with no one in the arena besides for like the cornerman, which is like 3 or 4 people, the fighter, and the staff that are making the whole machine run. But other than that, there's no one of non-essential reasons up in that arena. And I'll be honest, I love watching fights like that. It's so great because, UFC fighting, people are fighting one-on-one. It's the closest thing you got to gladiators. You know what I mean? Dudes are fucking animals in there. And it's cool to be able to hear them, be able to hear their breathing, be able to hear what they're saying. It's cool to hear what their cornermen are saying. And like, I think about like what football would be like and what hockey would be like and what baseball would be like, like imagine going to a Steelers game or watching a Steelers game, and it's basically like watching a scrimmage, except it just counts more. I would guess. But who knows if the people would benefit from that or not? Watching UFC, you kind of think about like, do these people benefit, because there's no one here? Like, can they focus more? Or do they benefit whenever there's a crowd? Do they thrive under all that energy, under that roof? And it's interesting to think about. I've been doing a lot of thinking during this quarantine. It's very, very interesting. There are some places that I can't wait to get back to. I can't wait to just, get back in a restaurant and be able to have some good food. I want some oysters in the worst way. And I wasn't going to buy oysters and buy oyster shucker and do it in my kitchen. Just wasn't happening. I'll wait till the quarantine ends. But, I'm excited to see everyone open back up, and I'm excited to go and patronize the good people of the city. And I'm curious to know like of some people's favorite restaurants. So if you got like some favorite places that you swear by, slide in the DMs and please let me know what they are, because like I'm just trying to like eat good food. You know what I mean, guys? Like I'm just trying to eat good food. I think one of the best meals I had before this quarantine happened was Dianoia's like family meal. It was like bruschetta on top of I think I'm pronouncing that right, like shaved, not bruschetta. Bruschetta? That might be what it was. But it was on like this focaccia bread, and this guy, Nick, is a bread master. Okay, he's the guy that I would message all day about sourdough bread. His name's Nick Malberg, and you could follow his Instagram at Wild Science Bread. But so he is the baker for Dianoia's eatery down in the Strip. But what he has been doing to kind of help, give back to the community, a portion of Dianoia's bread is being like auctioned off on his Instagram page, and it's pretty awesome because he got these really, really, really delicious like the mini loaves that are like little sourdough loaves. Like, and all the proceeds go to Black Lives Matter. And the way it works is like he'll post a picture. You got to be following his Instagram. He'll post a picture. Be the first to DM him to claim it, and you could and you basically donate any amount of money you want, and it goes to a good cause. And I just thought that was super cool because, like, you know, it's cool to see people, you know, kind of do what they can to, you know, give back. And I don't know, I just like to see, like, you know, it's going to be interesting to see what the world is going to be like coming up. You know what I mean? As far as, like, you know, everything, you know, with everything going on, it's like you got all these protests going on and this whole side of things. And it's like, you know, you got this whole coronavirus type thing on the other side of things. And it's just like, man, it's really crazy to think about. And what's even crazier is that, like, the majority of us are all stuck in our house, just, you know, eating into this media and, like, basically consuming whatever people, like, curate for us to see, and whatever, like, our algorithms on our social media curate us to see. And, you know, it's our duty to be like a sifter and sift through all the bullshit and kind of get the, you know, the content that's worth shit. But, you know, it's I don't know. I finally got the call back to go back to work part-time, and I'm excited about that. You know, I'm sure that, you know, I'm sure that I'll miss all the free time that I have, but, you know, I'm excited to get back out of this damn house and kind of have some sort of schedule. And 3 days a week, like, let's go with that. I'm pumped. You know, 3 days a week. I have a couple more days off. You know, I'm pumped about that. I'm going to try to get some shit done around this house. And then, you know, it's going to be dope because for, you know, I mean, like, that's like a good, like, initiation back into work. It's like people are off for 3 months and then everyone's just going back to work 5 days a week. And my job, you can't work from home. So, like, I'm going to be going back in the office, and it's like, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be really, really interesting. I'm excited to, like, just kind of, you know, see. I mean, I guess life is going to be considered, I don't know. I feel like people are going to think life is going to be normal again right now. And I don't know if it is. It's going to be interesting to see if it is or not. You know, it's wild times to be alive. I also have so a couple other things that I wanted to talk about that I'm pretty pumped about. I'm curious to know, you know, like, obviously I like coffee. If you've been following the podcast for a little while now, you'll see that, you know, periodically I will do my own roasts of coffee. And, you know, I'll pick out the bean, I'll roast the shit myself down at Black Forge, and I will, you know, bag it up, and then I will have coffee available. So, you know, I've always wanted my own mugs, and I finally have mugs in. You know what I mean? And I'm pumped about it. And I don't know what I want to do with them yet. Like, I don't know if I want to just, like, release them. I don't know if people, you know, I got them mainly to give to guests, you know, that come on here. And, you know, I'm just excited about it. But we got some mugs ready. I'm going to be getting some coffee made, you know, and I mean, like, my goal for all this, obviously we're still in a little bit of a limbo. Okay. And, you know, I really like all the research-based topics. You know, I've been getting good feedback from a lot of people on everything. And I mean, do I keep doing some of them? You know, I want to know what people think. It's like, do you guys like the research-based topics? Do you want me to keep doing some of them? Obviously, I'm going to keep, like, once I can, I'm going to get back to, like, interviewing guests, hopefully within the next week or two. It's just basically whatever people feel comfortable about, and whether I feel comfortable or not to bring people into my home. And you know, that's why I'm in, like, kind of a limbo right now, and I'm trying to decide what to do. And it's kind of hard to decide what to do, because it's like, I mean, like, what if there is a second wave? You know what I mean? You know, I'm not saying that there is going to be, but what if there is? And, you know, I just couldn't live with that. Like, me being the reason that someone got sick or something. And, I don't know. I've just been kind of thinking about that. I'll tell you another thing, though. I am excited to talk to some new people, you know, not that I dislike, talking with my wife. It's just like we've been having great conversations, but it's nice to talk to some new people. It's nice to talk to people that have different interests, that are passionate about like what they do. And, I always like feel like I gain something from that. Like whenever people are talking passionately about like what they love and what they do, it's like that's the shit that I love. You know what I mean? I love that. And I'm excited to, kind of get back into the swing of things. But I am curious to know what people want, out of the podcast. It's like, do you guys enjoy the research topics? Do you guys enjoy the guests? It's like, do you want a mashup of both? Someone messaged me and told me to keep doing the research topics as a Patreon. And, my feelings about Patreon are weird. I don't really feel like that I have a product that I should, charge people for. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's dumb. I feel like it's kind of like, I don't know. I just feel like it's kind of like shitty a little bit. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I've like a couple of these episodes that are behind a paywall. It's like, come on, bro. It's a fucking podcast. And I mean, I get it. I get it. I've bought episodes under Patreon, but it's like, who the fuck am I to have a Patreon and to charge people for episodes of what I'm talking about? So I don't know if I'll do that or not yet, but I am curious to know if people like the research-based topics. Maybe I'll do like, someone donates something and, picks a topic and I do that topic and, it could be something like that. Who knows? But I want to start kind of, getting my radar going again with some new people. And I think that the dynamic of the podcast is going to change a little bit in its own, like organically, because, I bet you a lot of the topics, a lot of the talking is going to focus around, coronavirus and how people adapted to it and kind of how they went about their life and what they were going to do with it. Like, not with it, but like, some people were off for 3 months. It's like, what were you doing? It's like, I want to know like what people were doing, like what people like did, you know what I mean? Like, I know what I did, but I mean, I assume everyone has kind of been doing the same shit that I've been doing. I just been watching things and, I'm kind of tired of it. But I became obsessed with this show. It's called Alone. There's a season on Netflix. It's fucking dope. They pick 10 people and, these are 10 people that are like wilderness survival people that do like bushcraft, like make like shelters and stuff. And they find this remote part of the world and they fly them to 10 different locations and they're just by themselves and they get 10 items including their sleeping bag. So technically, besides their sleeping bag, they get 9 items. Obviously, a knife is going to be one. Most people bring like an axe, And if you think you got a knife, an axe, and a sleeping bag, you got 7 other items that you could bring. You got to bring something to cook out of. A pot, that's one item itself. Rope, wire, that's an item itself. And these people were out there for 70 some days, 80 some days, 90 some days. And I became obsessed with it. I have became obsessed with it for sure. I've been ripping through all the seasons. They got some of them on Amazon Prime. They got some of them on Netflix, and I'm pretty sure I found them on Hulu as well. But yeah, these people stay there, and it's just like you're there. They fly you off. They drop you off. All you have is your book bag. You immediately have to like, just start surviving, and people just drop off. And once someone drops off, the other people that are still there do not get to find out. So it's whoever goes and stays the longest by like foraging and hunting and like, just surviving, they get $500,000. And it is wild. But it's a dope show. I've been getting real into like watching shows like that for some reason. but it's pretty sick. I've been watching movies. I've been watching movies, and I've been watching, way too much shit, as everyone is, I'm sure. Me and my wife watched this movie called Becky, and it's about, the preview is this little girl, and then it just shows like Kevin James with a fucking swastika tattooed on the back of his head. And this movie is about, Kevin James is like a white supremacy leader, got swastikas on his head and shit like that. It's a horror movie. And Kevin James, the dude from King of Queens and Hitch, he plays this like fucked up dude. And it's a horror like thriller movie. And it's pretty wild. It's definitely weird and like kind of like, I guess there's kind of some comedy relief in there. But I don't know. I just wanted to watch Kevin James play a serious guy. Nothing I love more than a comedian playing a serious role. But it wasn't bad. It wasn't a terrible movie. I've just been watching so much shit. Anything I'll watch. So 3 days ago, my buddy tells me, he goes, I've been watching all the Matrixes again. And I was like, The Matrix, huh? The first one came out in 1999. Keanu Reeves. And in 1999, I was 9 years old. I saw it on the midnight preview with my with my dad and my brother. I remember that. And when you're 9 years old, you just don't understand the Matrix. I don't give a fuck who you are. If you're under 9 years, if you're under, let's say, I'll give you a benefit of the doubt. If you're under 11, you didn't understand a thing about the Matrix, because I'm about to be 30 in like 2 weeks, and I still don't really understand it. But the movie does hold up so well. And like I said, it's been like probably at least 15 years since I watched any of the Matrix movies. And damn, for being in 1999, that movie is pretty incredible. And it holds up pretty well. And I remember whenever I was younger, like I loved it, obviously, because there was like, martial arts in it. There was guns. It was an action movie, Keanu Reeves, who doesn't love him? But I just remember like loving The Matrix, but like, I guess I never understood it. I never understood what The Matrix, I just watched the movie. And as an adult, I tend to, like I did that movie episode a couple weeks ago. As an adult, I tend to, revisit movies that I watched a long time ago whenever I was younger, and, start to understand things that I did not understand, that I'd never picked up whenever I was younger, because it just went over my head. And, yeah, it is, it's definitely good for sure. I recommend it, I recommend it if you haven't. They're all on Netflix: Matrix, Matrix Reloaded, and Matrix Revolutions. I am currently on Matrix Revolutions, and I don't know. I don't remember any of it. I'll tell you that. I do not remember a thing from The Matrix, but there's a lot of shit that people have been trying to tell me to watch. Someone told me to watch Hannibal. I don't know. There's a lot of TV shows to try to watch. It's just like, I'm kind of tired of it. I want to like just get the fuck out of my house. I'm thinking about going on a camping trip one of these long weekends up here. I'm trying to ride my bike up to Ohio Powell. I've never done that, and I have never like really went on like a overnight bike trip, but I have been putting some miles on the old beast that I bought. I've been putting some miles on it, and I think I'll be able to make it to Ohio Powell. I would hope so, at least. If not, I would be disappointed in myself, but that's the plan. The plan is we're going to, get on the bikes, go up to Ohio Powell, and, take a couple days to get up there, hang out there a couple days, and then make our way back. And I think it'll be dope. Being in this quarantine, you start to think about things, like I start to think about things. I start to think about like, potentially like thinking about different careers, like potentially thinking about like traveling and like, it's pretty interesting to be, I really could not imagine being stuck in this quarantine by myself. But like, imagine like 3 months and you're just like, luckily I got my wife, I talked to her, we're best friends. We just hang out, and it's dope. And I'm thankful for that. I couldn't imagine just like kind of living by yourself and not having someone to kind of like be there with. Like, it would just be boring, I feel. I don't know. I mean, to each their own. Some people thrive in it. I am disappointed in myself that I have not read a single. Actually, I have read one book. I read one book this quarantine. I read Boaz Frankel's book. The title escapes me right now. I think it's called The Weirder We Get, or I don't know. It's about couples, and the longer you're together, the weirder things that you notice. And it's fantastic. Very, very cute book. Teared up. No big deal. I golfed. I finally went golfing, and it was just like, whew, it was so fucking nice. Picked a beautiful day, quick 9 holes, golfed a 48, first time back in over a year, and I was happy with that. I'm proud of a 48. Anything under a 50, and that's a win for me. But it makes me happy. Golf is a good time. Never too late to learn. I just picked it up a couple years ago. About to be 30 years old. Just picked up golf. But yeah, I turned 30 in a couple weeks. June 30th. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know. Maybe just go eat some food somewhere. But yeah, guys, I'm going to be working to get back into the regular swing of things. I want to get some guests back in here and start, stop talking about myself. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of being in my own mind and talking about myself. And it's hard to do these solo episodes. You know what I mean? It's like I'm talking just by myself. It's a lot to research this shit and kind of come up with a coherent thought that could transfer into a podcast. But, I'm proud of myself for doing all this stuff. I hear people's feedback. People hit me up and they're like, I love this episode. Aliens was dope. And it was cool to hear that. It was really, really, it made me feel good to hear, the good things about the podcast. And I'm still out here grinding, It's like I'm still out here doing it. I could have just took time off, but I didn't want to do that. You know what I mean? I didn't want to just quit, doing the episodes. But I am going to get back into the guests because I need it. I need some conversation. I need to learn. I need a life story. That's what I mean. I need a life story. You know what I mean? But let me know what you think about the research episodes. If you want me to keep them, if you want me to leave them, I am interested. If you guys are interested in any merchandise that I have, I don't really push it too much, but I got some t-shirts. I got some really dope mugs, 3 different mugs. They are 16-ounce mugs, nice big old boys with a nice handle. You could fit your full hand in. I made sure I found some mugs that were nice and, ergonomic, that fit well. And I'm happy with them. Put them through the dishwasher a handful of times, and they are still going strong. But I got 3 of them. Slide in the DMs if you're interested. I got some t-shirts. You already know I got some stickers. And I'm excited to keep the ball rolling with this, Get out there, buy yourself some Turner's tea. Why else? What else do you need in the world besides for a little Turner's tea? And really think about what's going on in this world and what's happening and what's coming up. And I get it, whether you believe that you should be wearing masks or whether you believe that this is all bullshit or whether you do anything. Just kind of think of some other people. I feel like if all of us took some time and thought about other people rather than ourselves a lot of the times, things would be better. Sometimes maybe that mask ain't for you. Maybe that mask is to keep your germs out of some poor old lady's mouth. But you know what I mean? It's also, I get it's going to be hard for people to wear these masks in 90-degree weather. Who knows what's going to happen, guys? We're in the Wild West, Give me a holler. Let me know what you think about the podcast. Please take a second to rate, review, and subscribe. That's all I could ask you to do. You know what I mean? If you don't want a mug or anything like that, that's dope. Please just take a second to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. If you know of anyone doing anything cool in the city, if you are someone doing something cool in the city, please let me know. You know what I mean? Like, hit me up. Let's talk about it. I want to get some people in here. I want to figure out how to do it, how people could feel safe, how I could feel safe bringing people into my house that I don't really know or know where they were. But I'm looking forward to it. I'll tell you that. And I know this is a short episode this week, but, I want to get back into the people. I want to get back into the people. I don't want to just keep bullshitting and talking. I want to get back into guests. Thanks for listening. As always, I'll call you right back.